Last time in our game we made this door and this button and we made them work, but right now they just look pretty plain. They're just white cubes or white meshes. And today we're going to make those look a little bit nicer in Blender. So I'm going to jump into Blender and I already have our default cube. So from here I'm just going to hit 1 and that lets us look at this from the front. And it's a 2x2 cube by default. And our door is 2 meters tall, so this works for the height. And I'm going to go grab Z1, so GZ1 to move it up just so it's sitting on our plane. Then I'm going to hit 3 to see it from this side, and I'm going to hit S, Y, 0.1. And that makes it scale down in the thickness to match what we have in Godot currently. Now, since our hallways are 3 by 2, I'm going to actually treat this door as being a little bit narrower than what we normally have. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do duplicate. Then I'm going to make this, I'm going to go grab X1, move it over, and then I'm going to SX 0.5 to make it just one. Actually, I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to go SX 0.5. So now it is 0.5 meters wide. So what I'm going to do is have the door, I'm going to go SX 0.75 to have this be 1.5 meters wide, and then I'm going to use this one to be one edge on the side. And so to create the other edge, what I'm going to do is add a modifier, do the mirror modifier around the y-axis, and I'm going to do it around this object. So now we have our two edges. So I'm going to call these edges. I'm going to call this the door. And before we do anything else, I am going to do Control A and apply all of the transforms. We want to make sure we do that before we export it to Godot, or else sometimes things can get pretty messed up. So the other thing we can do, I can go ahead and apply this mirror modifier because I know it's not going to change. So now we have our door and our two little edges. So now I'm going to add a mesh and a cylinder. And this is way, way too big. I want it to be, what this is going to be is sort of like that bottom cutout from Eye of the Beholder where there's like bars running up. So this is a little too big. Let's go, instead of 1 meter, let's go 0.6. That looks pretty good as far as that. Now if we do rotate around the x-axis 90 degrees, you can see that that's making a nice little cutout. And maybe we want to scale it up a little bit. Maybe we just want to keep it right there. I think keeping it there is fine. So now I'm going to click on our door, add a modifier of Boolean, and we're going to do difference around this object. And then now if we click on this and hide it, we can see we get our cutout. And that looks pretty good. So I am going to go ahead and apply this as well. Now we can just get rid of this cylinder. We don't need it anymore. And the one last thing we need to do is we need to create the bars for the door. So I'm going to add another cylinder. And this time I'm going to make it pretty small, like 0.125. No, that's still way too big. How about 0.125? How about just a little bit? 5. That looks pretty good to me. And we can reduce the depth to just like 5 maybe, or 0.75. Then we can go just grab Z, right, that one, grab Z. Okay, so then I'm going to grab X, so GX, and move it over here. And what I want is it to replicate along each of these spaces. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to add an array modifier, make it 10. Then we're going to make this an offset. If we do 0.1, that doesn't quite get us there. We can do 0.2, 0.115, almost 0.125. There, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we've got the start of our door. From here we can keep working on our door. We could keep adding elements to it, but for just the purposes of this demo, I'm not going to do too much more to it. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to give this some materials. So I've already downloaded a wooden, it's called the wooden garage door material from Polyhaven, and then I'm going to reuse our brick material for the edges. So let's do that now. So the first thing I'm going to do is go down to material, and on our edges I'm going to say new. I'm just going to call this brick, edge brick material. And what we need is for our base color to be an image texture. Go open, and then I've already moved this into here, and so it's the this one. Then to see it, we can come up here. Now it looks all stretched out and weird, and we're going to fix that using UV unwrapping. So let's see how to do that now. So the first thing we want to do is come into edit mode, and I'm just going to go to, and I'm just going to select the edges way around. Then this one around, this one around, and this one all around. Okay. Then I'm going to say, go to UV, say mark seam. Then I'm going to do this one, this one, this one, this one, just since they're easy to see. We don't really need to worry about these edges right here, but they will be part of our, they will be part of the model, so we kind of have to include them. So I'm just going to mark those as seams as well. And then if I go into, let's see, if I hit A, let's go get rid of the rest of this. So now we've got this, and the way I did that, I just hit the forward slash the keyboard to just hide everything else. Then I'm going to come up here to UV and unwrap angle based. Now, if I go into UV editing, I can see these different pieces, and I can see, you know, sort of like what they are on the model. So there's that one, that one, that one, that one. And I can actually reuse space on this image. That's totally fine. Let's see, what are these? These are, well, it looks like it kind of duplicated for some reason. Let's just delete those. And yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's go X, M at center. At center. Okay, so that should have fixed. Oh, and then yeah, there's a weird one too. Okay. I don't know what happened there. anyway, that should have worked. Okay, A. Oh yeah, let's go this. All right. And then I'm just gonna do this again. Oh, I don't want that. I want these edges. Yeah. Okay, so I want those marked as seams. This, that, that. Seam, and two, that, 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 that. Seam. Okay. Now, if I do this again, unwrap angle based, and editing, there we go, that looks better. Okay, so now in our UV editor, we can treat this just like our actual like mesh editor, so all the same keyboard strokes work. So I'm gonna do scale, and actually I'm gonna put it kind of right in the center, scale it up so it fits. Don't want it to go too high. And if it kind of doesn't overlap perfectly, that's all right. And this one, I'm gonna just put it in the same spot. So which one is that? This one is on the other side. Yeah, so these will kind of be not quite exact mirror images, but off from each other. And this one I can put here and scale it up. And I don't want the two to look identical on the two sides that you can see. And they don't have to be identical here, but I feel like you're not going to ever see both sides at the exact same time. If they don't match up perfectly, that's okay. We just want to make sure that it stays within the actual image. And then these we never actually see, so it doesn't really matter, but we can include them anyway. So now let's see how this looks. And it's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and save that. Now we'll come out of this mode, go into our modeling mode, and then we'll go into our door. Let's go distraction free. All right, so I'm gonna go edge there, and I'm gonna say seam. Seam. Then I'll just do these two corners, I guess, and then actually I'll go this corner, this corner, this corner, this corner. I'll say mark those as seams. So now we'll have this one strip. We'll have these of the top, and then the most important is the two faces. Okay, so I will go A, unwrap angle based, editing, and now we need another image, and I already have one. It is our wooden garage door views. And if I go into face mode, grab this. Now, what I want is probably something right around here. Let's see, I'll go scale. So I don't think we'll be able to take up an entire, like the entire thing. But if I get just about that, that'll look pretty good. So let's, oh, and I need to give it a material. So let's go material. And then this we want texture, and there. Okay. So now, if we jump back to edit mode, I want to make this the exact same size, so I'll scale it up. It's not quite perfect, but that's okay. So now, come back into our modeling setup, take a look at our door, and now it looks like door. And what these edges look like doesn't really matter, so I'm not going to focus too much on that because we're only ever going to see these sides, the front and the back. Okay, so now if we come out of here, the last thing we want to do, I want to give these a material as well, and apply this model. I'll say this is the bar material. I'm going to kind of make these gray. I'm not going to use a downloaded material for this. I'm just going to say they're pretty metallic and somewhat rough, but not super rough. And then we'll get like a nice little shine effect off of the light from those. The rest of our material stuff, I'm not going to set in Blender. I'm going to do that from within our game. Okay, so this is basically done. We've got this piece, we've got these pieces, and we've got the bars. And what we can do now, I've saved this in our Godot project file. So let me open Godot back up. And now it's re-importing all these assets. And I saved them in this world objects folder right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this door that has a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to say save branch as scene. So I'm just going to save this and save it in world. Yeah, that'll be fine. Let's see. Actually, I'll do new folder. I'll say world scenes. This will be door. And then if I go scenes and open our door scene, now we've got our door. But this is all one piece, and what we want is actually 3 pieces, and so we can just delete this. Then what I'm going to do is, well, if you double click on this, it won't open correctly. It'll open as a scene. What I want to do is new inherited scene. So there's our door. And so it's the same as in Blender. It's got this same stuff. It's got the same UV, the same image, all that, which is great. It's also got the default camera and the default, I guess we called this cylinder. So we've got the camera and we've got the light. We don't want that. So I'm just going to copy all of this and put it in door. Now, this is rotated 90 degrees. As long as we know that this is kind of rotated, we'll be all right. Okay, so now what I need is I actually need this to be in 2 pieces. So this door right here, what I can do is I'm going to add a child node, and I'm going to just call this static body 3D. Then I'm going to make this make scene root. I'm going to call this the door, and I'm going to call this the movable door. Now our standard door, this is actually what's going to get the edges. So I'm going to move that there. Then I'm going to do mesh, create collision shape, and I'm going to say simplified convex, and get, let's see, did that make it all one piece? I think it might have. Get rid of that. Yeah, it does. Which is not what we want. That. What we actually want. Oh, here we go. Let's go create collision shape. convex create. There we go. So now we've got two collision shapes that match those edges. Then in our movable door, I'm going to go, let's make it visible. I'm just going to say mesh, create collision shape, and I'm just going to make this a bounding box, because even though we've got these bars, we don't really want anything to be able to pass through them. So I'm just going to create that, and then we've got our collision shape. Okay, so if we make these invisible, you can see that they go away, make that go away, the entire door away. Good. Now, now what we need a script on this door that'll sort of pass down stuff to this movable door. So this we can close, we don't need to save it. We jump into our script for the door. We can actually say, let's see. Wait. Oh, it's down here. So door, whoops. Door. And then in our door, give this a script as well. Then I'm going to go down here into our movable door, and I'm going to get this same export var from before. And then I'm going to go our movable door. I'm just going to do this. So it's going to get the door switch toggled signal connect. Now it's saying we don't have a toggled door, so let's create that function. Door, toggle door. Okay. Now all we're going to do, now that we have this movable door, we also need a reference to it, and we're just going to say movable door dot toggle door. And we're not going to underscore it because it's actively being called. It's not a private method. So in our movable door, we're going to remove this underscore. And we're going to take out this signal because we don't need it. Okay, so we just refactored a little bit of code. So we've got our door, which is a static body, and it's got a door switch that is exported, and then it's on ready movable door, so it gets a reference to this movable door. So when this switch, or when this signal fires, the door switch toggled, then it calls this function, which calls the movable door toggle door function. And what that does is exactly what we did before. We've got the closed position and the open position. I think we want to do global position for this instead of regular position. Because when I've tested that before, it's messed up. So now we've got global position for these. And then, we need to connect the signal. So in our scene here, the door, and now it's kind of out of position, you can see, so we just need to adjust that. But door switch, we can reconnect there, and then door will go transform around the Y, will go 90, that go rotation 90, there, and then just minus 0.5. It's like this doesn't actually fit. What's that? Like our scaling got messed up. Okay. Let's see. 0 there. That's good. must have done some math wrong in Blender, but that's okay. We can just, let's see, we'll just do scale 2. Okay, that looks like it'll be okay. And even though it's a little bit extending out of the scene to the top, it'll be all right, because we don't want a non-uniform scale. Okay, so now if we jump into our game, up here we've still got a white box for our switch, but we have our door. We open and close it, now it looks a little bit better. Now we've got a pretty harsh reflection because we haven't set up like the roughness or the metallic or anything. So let's do that now. Let's go back into our door scene, or our door node. Yeah, I guess it's the door scene. And if we go into our edges, then we can open the mesh and we can open the surface, which is this edge brick material. So we can open that material. Now we've already got the texture set because that was set in Blender. If we do the rest of this in Blender, it often won't carry over correctly. Let's see, looks like those are extending out a little bit. That's not going to be a problem for this game, but if this were not a 3D grid movement game, you would want to fix that. Okay, so if you were to set any of these in Blender, it often won't transfer over correctly, so it's better to just do it in Godot. But at least our UVs carry over, and so then when we import these other textures, it'll carry over as well. So we've got these brick materials, so let's do our roughness, and so if I like to open them up because then it's already been opened and it makes it a little nicer to use. Okay, so we import the roughness. Then we have ambient occlusion. We can enable that. And we can do AO. That in. You can see that that made a little bit of a change. One of the biggest changes is the normal mapping. So if we do this normal map, and oh, am I doing the wrong one? I think I was doing the wooden garage door. I'm supposed to be doing the brick roughness. Yeah, worn brick. Okay, that's good. In occlusion, did I do the wrong one? Wooden garage door, yeah. That's why it kind of looked funny. So let's reset that. Worn brick. But this is the in occlusion. Then our normal map. So you can see just how big of a difference that makes. Just that one little thing with the normals. So let me just reset it again. So this looks very, very flat. Everything looks kind of the same. And then as soon as we bring in this normal map, it really adds in a lot of shadowing and detail. And that just instantly makes everything look better. So we've got ambient occlusion, we've got our normal map, we've got our roughness. Godot says for height, you don't really want to use it because it's pretty performance intensive, so we won't use that. Let's instead do the same thing for our movable door. Let's see. Oh, code I must have left in. Yeah, we don't need this switch. Get rid of that. Oh, whoops. Yeah, we can get rid of that too. Oh, wait, no. We do need that in the door. We don't need it in movable door. Okay. I probably just screwed up our game. Yep. Okay. Back into our door. In our movable door. In our door. I want. Remember if. Oh, this is part of the movable door. Good. Okay, so door. Open up our surface material. I've already got the color set. We need our roughness. So we can do rough. Is that gen AO in, and then the big one is the normal map. We'll enable that. And that makes just a huge difference too. Okay, so now if we just turn off our collision shape so we can see this, we can see it's still pretty shiny because I guess this is probably like a shiny wood material. But you can see if we look really close, all these little like scratches and indentations and stuff that, and then I don't know if this is backwards, but it looks like these are maybe indentations instead of like protrusions based on how it's reflecting the light. Okay, so let's make that visible again, and we can hop back into our game and see how this looks. Here, we've still got some shine, but it does look like a door. And we open it, close it. So now what we can do is do the exact same thing with our switch. So I will leave that to you as an exercise for next time, and then I will show how I do it. So give making the switch in Blender a try. Set its materials directly if you want, or find some materials on something like Polyhaven. And I will see you in the next one.